Bliss and power every freaking minute and hour. Love, love, love. I'm Christian Gang is Quan on the scene. Showing some love. I wanted to make a little video. I worked out and got ready for the last day of the work week, or the last mandatory day of the work week. I'm about to start getting some OTs so I can start getting this other stuff rocking. But anyway, I wanted to show a little love, share a message that had came to me the other day, and it was just based on a conversation I was having during the day. And first of all, I hope your world is shaping out great for you. I hope it's working out in the best of ways, in every way. Filled with joy, filled with bliss, filled with passion, filled with integrity, filled with honors, filled with serendipity, filled with luck, filled with favor, filled with fortune. I hope your family is blessed. I hope your body is blessed. I hope your mind is blessed. Yeah, I hope your whole life is blessed in every single way. And it was just a quick talk I was having with a brother on lunch. And he was telling me about some of the things that he had learned. Nah, he was really talking about how he was breaking bread with his babies, with his children. He has like, I think 2 girls and a boy, and his oldest girl has 2 grandchildren. Has 2 children. I mean, his oldest girl has 2 children, so he's a grandpappy. A little boy and a little girl has grandchildren. So anyway, he was just talking about the game that he was giving his little ones and how he really empowered them early on. And he was telling me some stuff he was saying, I was like, yeah, that's dope. Those are really powerful keys. He was saying he was breaking off a lot of the 48 laws of power with his children, especially with his little boy, his young boy, youngest son. And he was also breaking bread about the nations of God and earth, the 5% nation, and getting into the supreme mathematics. It's called, and I was like, yeah, that's really a blessing. You know, that's really powerful stuff. And I was already I had kind of fully devoted and really came to a deep space of mastery and in this system of divinity that I was brought into, which was apostolic Christianity, and then I elevated into esoteric Christianity, and then into Gnosticism. So that was my path of self-development. But what I was telling him when I was breaking bread is that, like, he was saying how a friend had came back from out the box, and then he had linked up with him. They was talking and everything he was saying. He was like, yeah, God, so, God, I appreciate you, God. You real dope, God. You got your stuff going, God. And he was saying that he felt offended. He felt offended by what his brother was saying. And he had to really, like, pull him to the side and, like, calm him down. I was like, listen, bro, like you keep saying God, like, it's really offending me, It's like, you kind of, like, I'm not God. You can't keep saying that, God, like that, because it's kind of offensive. I was like, wow, yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, that really speaks about the colonization programming that we've all been a part of, and certainly our parents. And I seen a video on Instagram the other day, and I didn't tell him this because I just seen it yesterday, but it was somebody also reiterating that. It was the African chick, and she was saying how Africa begins to colonize itself. Even the fact that America doesn't really know about colonialism, they're not being taught things in the school system, is in fact colonialism still reigning and still dominating our society. And it's a point where, you don't see the colonizers, but the parents and the institutions are the colonizers, the teachers are the colonizers, the religious teachers are the colonizers now. They don't have to be the parent. They don't have to be a colonizer directly. you got colonizing agents in your space, and they're all trying to take God-given power from you and trying to minimize your standing and minimize like who you are, so that you don't feel like you have control of your life and that you can create whatever life you desire. You can't live your dreams because you're under somebody else's authority, and they hit you with this so early, and they hit you with it on such a deep level that a lot of people don't ever really take those reins in their own life. They kind of just follow what a construct of what was given basically to be a cooperative slave, indentured servitude essentially. So this is what the African lady was saying. So when he was saying that the brother was talking to him in that format, he had to pull him aside. It was like, yeah, that's wild, because that's really your programming from the colonizer really speaking out. Your religious programming given to you from your parents. No matter how much of a street dude you may be, you still have this religious context that was given to you by your parents, and you stand in that fence until you have the courage and or the knowledge and wisdom to break out of that box. People kind of stay in that space, they stay in that lane. So I was like, yeah, it's so wild, because it takes time. It takes courage and it takes development to, it sounds easy, but it takes courage and development to get out of those spaces and start to really move in divine authority. Some people move in reckless authority, which of course still their God-given rights to their divine right, of course. That blessing of free will, but it's also a subtle distinction there between those who move in reckless authority, which is still reclaiming divine authority, but then those that move in divine authority, which is people who have gone through their own courses of initiation and really went through the principles and steps of gathering information and going back and reverse engineering philosophy and concepts that have been shared with humanity throughout time, and that has been really people standing on the shoulders of giants and picking up where other folks have left off when it comes to just philosophy and understanding about existence. Those going through those pathways, going through that process, actually helps you reclaim divine authority to where you can really stand on principles and not stand on chaos. Can't say that, it's just calling it like it is, So I was saying, yeah, that's so wild how that is, I had to really work on that myself, and that was a part of my spiritual awakening, of course, and part of my awakening as a God in the flesh on earth. And I said, really, when it boils down to it, it's so simple, but this is how you know you're spellbound. It's how you know you're programmed, because people will tell you that God exists, or you ask, they'll tell you that God exists, and then you say, okay, where is God? They say God is everywhere. God is everywhere and God is everything. Okay, then based off that premise, you are God. And they were like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I said, but listen, you just said that God is everywhere, God is everything. That means that you have to be God too. And people don't like to accept that. It's like, no, that is the truth. That is how it goes. You are not a child of God, which is once again placing this separation between you and God like authority. It's not you're a child of God. You are a little God. You are in Godhood training. Is essentially it. You're in Godhood training. You're in the lessons and steps of Godhood and fullness, and depending on the depth, the aptitude of awareness, and the orders of magnitude that you can understand. This is what separates, whether you are in Godhood space or you are just quote unquote a child of God and under God's authority. Now, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we are individuation of the whole. We are a part, and God is a whole. But we are God. We are one with God. We are the part in the whole. We are the observer and the observed at the same time. And that's a process that doesn't make sense to the logical mind. And that's why there was a process of activation and the process of opening up your right brain, harmonizing making your brain holistic, and mind, left and right hemispheres being balanced and opening up the brain within the heart, and then creating heart-brain coherence so that you're able to understand deeper concepts of philosophy, deeper concepts of understanding that don't make logical sense, but with the right brain opened up and with the heart brain activated, you can step into full understanding and full wisdom of concepts beyond just the surface, beyond the logical, but also the dynamics of that truth and the multiple facets of that truth. They say truth has three sides, or not truth has three sides, but there's three sides to everything, I guess you could say. There's the positive, the negative, and the neutral. So in this regard, you can understand what's also not being said. You can understand the implications of a thing without being told the fullness. I was telling somebody the other day, one of my favorite shows that I've seen was there's two types of people in this world. And two types of people in this world. One is the one who can deduce facts based off information that is said. And then number two, and two was blank. So it was funny because it's literally saying, when people were asking, like, well, what's number two? You left number two out. And it's like, no, that's the point of the show. There's people who can deduce information from the things that are said, and then people who can deduce information from the things that are not said. That's what number two is, and that's why I was left blank. So anyway, it's like, yeah, this is what it is. This is training them. It takes some people, it takes development to get to that level of understanding, because you're so programmed. You're so programmed by the school systems and usually by your parent, your hierarchy of authoritative figures in your world. You're so programmed to stay within the confines of their thinking patterns. And anything outside of their thinking patterns is actually doing something wrong. No matter how old you are, this is what it is. You're doing something wrong. You're quote unquote hell bound because your reasoning is not sound to their perspective. Now, I'm not saying that's always the case. Obviously that's not the case, but I'm saying that this is what they program you with, so you don't like to think outside. People don't like to think outside of the box. Obviously, people that rock with me do, but people that rock with me do, and my audience does and would. But I'm just saying that people don't like to think outside of the box. So they're programmed with fear. They're programmed that this thinking outside of you not having a mind of your own, you're not leaning to your own understanding, quote unquote, is creating a hellbound situation for you, or a afterlife of torment and confusion. And so people don't push the envelope. They'll just follow the same box pattern of what they've been told. But you are actually in Godhood right now. You are a little God, learning and developing through the big God, the fullness, the wholeness. And this is what you choose. This is what you're actually, this is spiritual food. This is real spiritual food, is when you start to move in that way, where you are actually discerning reality, discerning existence through the lens of quote unquote the Holy Spirit, which is the mindset of God. The mindset of God, how God would think, how God would handle situations. If God were in man form, God would be moving in the highest levels of honor, the highest forms of integrity, following what they said they're going to, doing what they said they're going to do, following through, creating, uplifting, inspiring, empowering. This is how God will move. God wouldn't move any other way. A God can move however they choose to move. And that's going to determine what type of God you become. But God is able to, but God would be moving in divine authority, in divine wisdom, and in divine compassion. That's how God would be moving. Why would God move any other way? Any other way doesn't necessarily benefit the whole. It doesn't create situations of harmony moving any other way. So why would God move that? God wouldn't. God could, God can move however God chooses to. But God would move in the best way for everybody involved every time. even if it meant sometimes, quote unquote, having to sacrifice one's own desire for a time to give love and give compassion to another. God would make that sacrifice because God knows that there is no sacrifice. There is only service. There is only love. There is only compassion and empathy. There is only opportunities to heal and to create harmony and to bridge and to align deeper and more holistically with one's environment and with one's surrounding. Even if that includes people, you still want to be a being of harmony, a being of love, a being of counsel. And this is how God will move. So yeah, it was deep. You know how deep we got real quick, and it was a beautiful thing to see it come together in his head. Because even though he was breaking that bread about even though he was sharing some information with his children, you can still tell that certain things hadn't fully been embodied like that, because it takes development to actually step into divine authority. You can step into a reckless type of authority where you're just doing what you want to do, but it's not standing on divine principles because you haven't chosen to discover them yet. So you're still kind of curious about how God would think, quote unquote, but you're saying that I want to do like this and I'm doing this. But the divine authority is when one takes that time to discipline oneself to learn through various scriptures and various texts what has been written by those sages and by those individuals who have separated from society for periods of time, to download thought that is independent of the thought of the social norms. And they're downloading information from the ethers. They're tuning in their antenna to higher levels of consciousness through their diet, through their surroundings, through their intentions. And they're able to scribe these thoughts, these channelings of energy down. And those channelings of energy becomes scriptures that are shared. And through this, we're able to share divine thought that is separate and void of just an ego. It's actually filled with light consciousness, because this is actually a consciousness that is beyond the temporal body. They have placed their body into certain states, poses and states, so that their mind can roam free. They can astral project, astral influence, and channel from anywhere in the world and from anywhere in the cosmos. And those scriptures, and they can be achieved by people in America too. We have American monks. I'm an American monk. There's many American monks. There's many Christ beings all over the world. And, we all have various ways of operation. But the main principle that we all stand on is divine wisdom and divine love. It's really that simple. And you step into those spaces by working in the best benefit of all involved and choosing to empower and inspire as much as you can. Uplift as much as you can, as deeply as you can. And starting with yourself and your family, ideally. But a prophet is without honor only in their own home. So oftentimes you may not be accepted at first, but through your own personal discipline, people observing that discipline, respect is gained, a lifestyle is understood, and then you begin to open these people up based off your own inner work. And then you're able to really share and empower them. A lot of times people come through, they want to preach, and they want to cast people down with hellfire and brimstone. They want to judge other folks because they're not doing things a certain type of way, and that's not how it goes. You're not creating the open channels, even if they are doing something wrong. You're not creating the open channels that will allow somebody to want to communicate with you later on down the line, because you've already chosen to step into a space of reprimand rather than understanding. So sometimes that can work a little bit, especially when it works a little bit sometimes, but more times than not, you're going to attract more flies and more insects, more hummingbirds with honey. Say that, you're not going to attract them with trying to pound a gavel or cut someone's head off because blah, 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 So anyway, that's my message for today, is stepping into Godhood is the name of the game, and it's the phrase of the day, every day, forever. Growing in Godhood. That's what I would title this. Growing in Godhood. Because there is nothing else or nothing better to do than to grow in your own individual Godhood. So with that, I'm Bishop signing off. I got one more set. I'm gonna throw some gear on, throw some clothes on, mess around and can't even roll. They got the dang old water off in here right now, so it's all good. That's the beauty of having your own sovereignty and being in your own spaces, independent. You know, you don't have to deal with just people doing things to your property whenever they want to, you know. So anyway, it's all good. Still a blessing to have a roof, still to be covered, be a my sound mind, sound body, have mobility of my of my limbs, sight, got the use of my senses, my blessed senses that are optimizing better and better every day. Every cell of my body is getting stronger. Every muscle fiber is getting stronger. Every hair follicle is blessed. You know, so it's all love. May this be the case in your world. I'm sending you prayers, sending you well wishes, sending you love, sending you bliss, sending you power, giving you divine authority to study on your own. Get out of the confines of the books that were given to you and start seeking those books that were hidden from you. You know, go into other countries, text and manuscripts, find translated works, study some of the works of Samuel Anvir, you know, study some of the works of Hegel, find different philosophies, check out, you know, some of Brother Penn's work, even some of the newer divine teachers and teachers in various spaces. You know, check out Brother Seven Bomar. You know, the list goes on. Check out Greg Braden. You know, check out Brother Panic, Brother Bobby Hemmett. You know, Brother C. Freeman L. Check out some of these teachers. You know, check these teachers out. You know, check out Dr. Joe Dispenza. You know, even check out some of the classic works of, you know, Napoleon Hill. You know what I mean? And you know, check these individuals out. What's the other brother's name? It's not coming to me. But yeah, check these teachers out. I mean, I can't think of them. One brother, Caucasian brother. I'll type in the comments section when it comes to him. I can't think of him now because I want to share him. But he has a lot of good game too. This cat that was in the Brotherhood, he has a YouTube channel now. He talks a lot. He has a Facebook group. He's a multi-millionaire, and they put him in a box for like a long time. He started giving out information that a lot of people didn't want him to be sharing, especially him being, you know, in secret societies and stuff. But, you know, he shared it anyway, and they hemmed him up. But he's out and he's doing his thing. But yeah, it's a lot of great teachers out there. So check these folks out. Take some time, invest in yourself. You know, invest in yourself in time. Purchase books, purchase courses, and go check out webinars and you know, virtual seminars, and go to seminars too. And really begin to develop your inner body, your light body, your body of consciousness within, so that you can start to shine that wisdom into your own world and start to share that wisdom with other people and start to empower folks, you know, rather than doubt people, you know, rather than tear folks down, you know, or rather than thinking what can't be done. You can start telling people what the impossible can be done because you're doing the impossible. You're a miracle worker, like I'm a miracle worker, like the Christ being is, you know. We do the impossible, the improbable, the magnificent. You know, this is how we live our lives. This is how we walk our walk. And it's not to brag, it's not to boast. It's to really showcase that, you know, you can really live a life of miracles. You can live a life of extraordinary wonder and riches and opulence, you know, if you choose to develop this and believe that you can accomplish these things, you know. So, you know, that's what it is. So anyway, bliss and power to you all. Sending love, sending grace. May you be blessed in every aspect of your world. Remember, you are in, you know, training of Godhood, you know, and nothing less. It's a blessed power every hour. Commit to the great. And bye for now, but not for long. I love you. I appreciate you. I cherish you. Thank you for your time and your attention. Excuse the fit. I just had to get my workout in. I'm about to get dressed, go get these numbers, come back and enjoy my you know, enjoy myself and continue to develop myself and build my empire to where I'm not having to be on somebody else's time, you know. And that's what it's all about. It's appreciation for it all, but also understanding that in order to be sovereign, I want to be able to rule my time and rule my environment with divine authority and divine love, not to rule over someone, but to rule over my world. So bliss and power every hour. I'll speak with you soon. Be blessed out here. Be safe. be loved, be protected, stay guarded, stay tuned in, stay aligned, and be fulfilled. I love you.